On today's That Park Place News Countdown, Disney scraps another Epcot fireworks spectacular.
Oh, the Simpsons turns 35!
A fellow Italian delivers bad news about the stallion. Disney claims that more people watched Elemental on Disney Plus than watched the finales of MASH and The Big Bang Theory combined. And the AMPTP puts forward their totally not kidding absolute best and final offer. It's all here and all ready for you on today's That Park Place News Countdown.
Bienvenidos a That Park Place, where we go through all the news that should be fun. If you don't speak Spanish, what I said was welcome. You're looking lovely today. Welcome to That Park Place. Something like that. We have a wonderful collection, as always, of news stories from around the That Park Place network. I am Jonas J. Campbell, and I'm here with Vash Sky. Vash, you doing well today?
I am doing very, very well. You caught me off guard with the Spanish, the language of my people there. That was a nice intro for our guests here.
¿Tú hablas español?
I didn't say I spoke it. I just said it was the language of my people. But
right.
Hey, it was nice to hear.
Well, I'm going to have to save that for one day. I'm going to have to look up for all the news that should be fun in español. But until then, please, all of y'all stay tuned. Subscribe if you want to hear me muddle the Spanish language anymore. And let's get started on all the news that should be divertido.
Number 1.
Hello, this is Lorena Creole with the Lorena Creole YouTube channel, keeping it real when it comes to theme parks. And speaking of keeping it real, looks like that new Epcot show that's supposed to be coming, turns out Disney is not particularly happy with this new score. Coming to us from WDW News Today, and this is a rumor that the new nighttime spectacular show Luminous delayed after Pinar Toprak musical score fails to meet expectations. Now, the new show, which is going to be called Luminous, it was supposed to be debuting in late September or early October for the 100th, but sources indicated that the primary cause of the delay is the music. The soundtrack of the Nighttime Spectacular is part of what sets Disney fireworks apart from smaller productions, and guests often cite the main theme for their first Disney fireworks show as a strong memory from their visit. Harmonious was oft criticized by parks fans for many reasons, but that unremarkable soundtrack was definitely among them for some. Reportedly, Disney was very unhappy with the work done by the composer Pinar Toprak, a longtime collaborator who also worked with Disney on Harmonious, as well as Captain Marvel and the new Epcot anthem. Sources indicated that about 70% of the show's music is being redone. 70% of the music being redone. Now, let us know in the comments, do you think this is a good or bad thing?
Number 2.
Hey folks, Culture here today for That Park Place with a story inspired by a CNN article that surprisingly may bring a dope smile to your face. That's right, the Simpsons are back with a bang as they mark their 35th season with some Springfield style. Last Monday, Fox dropped an extended trailer in honor of the animated juggernaut's remarkable longevity. The premiere episode of the new season, titled Homer's Crossing, finds Homer unexpectedly playing a school crossing guard. Little does he know that that decision would transform the once mundane safety squad into a formidable force to be reckoned with. Now, the show's iconic characters, Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, and Maggie, have secured their place in the longest running primetime scripted show in television history. And that's saying quite a lot. Unadjusted for modern audiences, this season promises to be chock full of classic Simpsons humor. Marge will grapple with nightmares of Bart's childhood. Homer will accidentally end up as that aforementioned school crossing guard, and Lisa takes us on a time-traveling adventure, and the spooktacular Treehouse of Horror, yeah, that trilogy is making its triumphant return. The series is helmed by an all-star lineup of executive producers led by Matt Groening, and bringing us together another fantastic season of dope. Simpsons will premiere on October 1st. I hope you get a chance to check it out.
Number 3. Things are definitely not looking good for Expendables 4, the franchise opening to a low $8 million to $10 million for this past weekend. Anthony D'Alessandro reporting on it for Deadline, as we see a trend continuing, folks. We've seen John Wick 4 underperform. We've seen The Equalizer 3 underperform. We've seen Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning underperform. It seems that action flicks this year, for some reason, just are not gaining traction with audiences, but Expendables 4, well, it could be the worst. This article says it's bound to be another low weekend at the box office, possibly lower than the last weekend, second worst of 2023. How is that? Well, Millennium Media and Lionsgate's Expendables 4 is coming in currently below what were already very low expectations, with 8 to 10 million for the weekend at 3,500 theaters. Well, that is not good, folks. Friday looks to be around 3.3 million, and that is under Expendables 3. This is a franchise in free fall, and don't expect to see any more Expendables. We hate it for Sly, but that's the way it is. Drop a comment down below and tell us why you think this is happening with male-dominated action flicks this year. Number 4.
Elemental. Hello, everybody. Tommy Tables here with the biggest news of the day. Oh, my lord. Elemental has saved Disney. The stock should be going up as I say this. It has scored the biggest Disney Plus movie premiere since Turning Red, earning 26.4 million views in its first 5 days. This is per Deadline, and I'm sure they got their talking points from Disney. This result is fantastic, given that it boasts an A cinema score, a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, and has grossed over 484 million worldwide. And yet, of that 484 million, only 154 of that came from the US market, which is actually pretty middling. Where did that other 330 million come from? Turns out the answer is Korea. Why? That's just a very good question. The director of Elemental, Peter Son, is actually a Korean American, and he was going on record as saying that the movie was inspired by his own childhood in New York, as well as the challenges that his parents faced after they'd immigrated to America from South Korea. This has apparently resonated with the Koreans to such an extent that Elemental has now become the most viewed Pixar movie over there. All this seems to be fantastic, except for the fact that, do keep in mind, international grosses are not as impressive as they might seem. Most movie companies will only get about half or even less than that in terms of the box office sales. This is also coming on the heels of Disney being caught in a little bit of a whoopsadilly, fib perhaps, regarding Ahsoka after they claimed that the first episode had brought in 14 million views globally, when in fact, according to Samba TV, it only got 1.2 million in the US. Am I saying that Deadline and Disney are lying here? Absolutely not. I strongly resent that suggestion. However, at the same time, it might be worthwhile to take these claims about Elemental with a grain of salt, shall we say.
Number 5.
Hello there, Vash Sky here with our next story, this time from Deadline and Variety. WGA and studio CEOs near deal finish line, working on the fine print. A deal in the latest negotiations between the WGA and studios CEOs to end the nearly 5-month-long writer's strike looks within sight. During the meeting today at the AMPTP Sherman Oaks office, the parties appear to have essentially untangled their stalemate over AI, writing room, staffing levels, and the last remaining matters of contention. Attorneys are now said to be deep in working on the final language for the 3-year deal. As Variety reports, they have a source that says here, it's mainly down to the language now. So we've seen this stalemate get pretty contentious in the last couple of days, obviously with Drew Barrymore stepping on the other side of the picket line and then stepping back into the picket line. We now have new legislation going through the California House and the California Senate in order to maybe provide some relief for some of these strikers here. So this is why Gavin Newsom is actually featured in this article. The lack of in-room attendance from the CEO Gang of Four comes after the group has been present in person for the last 3 days trying to seal the deal. As he has over the past couple of days, California Governor Gavin Newsom made calls today to the top negotiators and executives to check in about where things stood and where they're going, we're told. So, you've got a lot of interested parties wanting to see a conclusion to this. Obviously, you got to keep that content pipeline flowing, especially during this state of transition for the entire entertainment community here. So, we'll definitely keep an eye on this. This is a very developing story. It looks like we should be getting a conclusion to this sooner rather than later.
It is a fascinating thing to contemplate the end of this writer's strike. And then, of course, the SAG-AFTRA strike is right after it.
And it's interesting because we've had now a breaking story within kind of the cable sphere, right? And that might change cable as we know it. Now from the production side, we're going to have this what is a 3-year deal. We'll see if we are back to striking again after this 3 years. It's definitely a transitionary time for media as we know it.
Yeah, and especially with Marvel VFX unionizing the the big VFX driver there at the Walt Disney Studios, between them and ILM. The fascinating thing is, right now as we are recording this, there has not been a deal reached. But by the time this video comes out, there might have been a deal reached. So let us know in the comments. Let us know in the comments whether or not this is resolved by now and we're embarrassing ourselves by putting this time capsule on the internet for all of us to see that, yes, there is a little bit of a timeline here when we make these videos. Anyways, thank you very much to all of our contributors for all of their stories here on That Park Place. I think it is amazing to see that Disney has yet again scrapped Luminous, which was the scrapping of Harmonious. I think they want an us on the end of these titles. They really desperately want it. Anyways, please give us the story of us by giving us some comments here down below. We'd love to hear your opinions. And if you want to follow us on social media, our handles are there at the top of the screen. Of course, you can click on all of the links to our collaborators down below. In the meantime, for tomorrow, stay tuned to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com for all the news that should be fun. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.